guys, welcome back. It's Shelby, and today I'm so excited about the DIY I'm going to do. So I just saw a movie. Actually, I've seen it a couple times, but I just rewatched a movie called Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day. It came out a while ago, but it's like such a fun, awesome movie. And in it is a robe that Amy Adams wears. I'm gonna try and find a picture and kind of put it like here-ish. But it is the most beautiful, stunning feathered robe that I have ever seen in my entire life, and I just I have to have it. I have to have it. Every time I see the movie, I'm just struck by how beautiful this robe is. It's gorgeous, and I can't find anything like it online, nowhere. I can find feathered robes, but not like this one. So I decided I'm going to make myself one. So I have a couple items. I haven't opened them all. I've got this light pink kind of Marabou feather fringe. And it's not that long, so I ended up getting 6 of them. I haven't opened them all, but this really reminds me of the fringe on her sleeves, so I thought that would be a good place to start. Just the feathers in the satin tape makes it very sewable. And then I found this, which I actually haven't even opened yet, so here we go. Let's hope it's amazing. On the website, which was Amazon, it really did look like a super incredible match, so we're gonna find out. So she had a peach bathrobe, and this is kind of a light pink, peachy, satiny bathrobe. The only difference is hers was a flat bottom, and I think this one has lace. Yeah, so this one has a lacy bottom. Wow, it's gorgeous. This is absolutely stunning, really. You can just feel the quality, feeling it's heavy, the fabric's lustrous. This is a beautiful robe. This is quite lovely. So it's the perfect color, and I think the pink is just about right, maybe a little bit pinker, but in the movie her fringe was slightly pinker as well. I'm gonna hide the lace on the sleeves a little bit, and then the lace on the bottom, I'm not gonna worry about taking this off. I'm just gonna leave it on there. It doesn't really bug me. I don't know, maybe I'll get another just single row of this because I only have enough for the sleeves, and put it on the bottom. Probably not, that's a bit much, and honestly she didn't have it in the movie, so I'd almost rather have the lace than have the fringe. But fringe sleeves and a gorgeous, beautiful, way better quality honestly than I was expecting, satin nightgown, and basically I'm going to be sewing it on with some pink thread, but I will link everything I used down in the description below along with my socials, and let's get sewing. Okay guys, so I took off my jacket and obviously I changed the camera angle. I just want to show you the robe before we get started. Obviously I haven't even taken off the tag or the belt yet, but it is such beautiful quality. Honestly, I'm very impressed. It was not outrageously expensive. I think, no, with the fringe, it's gonna be more than a $50 project, but the robe I wanna say was $30. Don't quote me on that, I have to check it. I will link it below. But it's beautiful. It hasn't been steamed or washed or anything, but straight out of the package. It's only got a couple of the fold lines in it. It fits beautifully. It feels very nice and comfortable. It goes to just above my ankles, and honestly, the fabric just looks beautiful. It's very soft and lustrous, and it feels amazing, and you can really fold it over on yourself quite a bit. So even if you're not going to be transforming this with a feathered fringe on the sleeves, I would highly recommend and suggest this robe. Already, I can tell it's gonna be a major favorite of mine. So yeah, I will link the exact one I got down in the description below. Yeah, just a little side note, because this thing is so awesome. It's so beautiful. I don't want to take it off, so I'm very excited for this. So I'm starting with my very first bit of fringe, and I'm going to the very end of the lace. I'm going to build the fringe up towards the top of the row to get that lovely volume of feathers. So I'm just probably every ½ inch or so putting the needle through and bringing it back out in a nice big stitch that's going to flatly sew the feathers on, but I'm trying really hard to not stretch the lace. It is stretchy, and I'm trying really hard not to scrunch up or gather the feathers. I want it to lay nice and flat all the way around, and make sure that you don't sew your sleeves shut while you're doing it. I was actually very good and didn't do that, but it was definitely a risk that was on my mind. So just big long stitches and flatly sew the feathers down to the lace. So right here, I'm actually running out of thread, but I'm going to be layering this over the next one, so it's overlapping it slightly so that the feathers are hiding the pink tape from beneath, and it's going to create that really full textured effect. I don't want to layer them all onto each other because I want this to be quite thick, or quite tall at least, so I'm gonna go just maybe halfway up the tape. With enough of them, I'm hoping to get at least a couple inches and a nice full layering of feathers. So I'm gonna be doing that. So I'll take it to the edge here, which is just another 1 or 2. Then I actually need more thread, but I didn't want to get new thread and all that before I showed you what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna go up slightly, just a slight little angle, so the tape is just overlapping it. And continue with the loose stitch. I think that's working really well to keep them all in place and keep it exactly how I want. Here we go, now it is attached. Also doing it this way, going around, because it's a loose stitch, some of the places seem, well, loose. This is also going to be tacking down the bottom layer a second time. So we're loosely doing it once and loosely doing it just above it. And hopefully that's gonna give enough stability for these tapes. There's also not any weight on here, or at least there shouldn't be. They're just fringe on a robe, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue just to have them loosely tacked on, because we're going to treat them very gently anyway, so not a big deal. And we're just gonna tie off this thread and start another one and keep going. So first off, I think there's like double-sided sticky tape or something holding the feathers into the ribbon, because ever since the first couple passes through, the needle has been super sticky. It's not something that's like really bothersome, but just something to note that I think there's some sort of adhesive still kind of floating around inside the ribbons there. I guess it makes sense that it's not just the single stitch that's keeping all the feathers in. They would need to be adhered down with glue or some other fashion, but just something to keep in mind. Additionally, this is the first layer. It made it all the way around 2.5 times, and you can see that it is already starting to look full and gorgeous, and we're gonna have another 2 layers on top of that because I have 3 sets of feathers for each side. If it doesn't come all the way up here, I'll probably fold it up and do that, so it's just feathers and then satin, but we will see when we get there. Also, you'll notice this is super pink. Not all my feathers are, which is kind of a little annoying because they're all light pink, but I guess they're different batches, because you can see pink, not pink. This is much closer to the color of the robe itself. So what I did is I picked the very pink ones to go at the bottom, and then any ones that are kind of an intermediate color for the middle, and the ones that really match the robe up at the top, so it looks like an intentional color ombre effect. So a little annoying, but honestly not a big deal. Still super cute. So this is the middle color that I chose for this side. You can see it's almost like a little peach. The ribbon itself, you can see, is definitely peach versus pink. The feathers, they really match this ribbon. These really match these ribbons, but the feathers themselves on top of each other, you really can't see a difference. The difference is mainly in the ribbons. So that's okay there, and I really think it's gonna work out fine. I'm just getting to the point where I need to add a new layer. What I did when I first started this layer of feathers was that I folded the end of the tape over on itself, and I'm gonna do the same right now when I finish the tape, just because, not that I think it's a risk of unraveling, but that like basically guarantees that it's not gonna unravel on me, and I'd rather have that. So I'm just gonna fold back just the very tip of it onto itself, and then go ahead and tack that down real quick. And then I'm gonna start with my new batch of feathers, which start right here. Just pull those off the edge of the desk there. And also there's no feathers here, so it works just to tap it behind. And we're just gonna line the ribbons up like that. Yeah, so you can see the ribbon width is different too. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with that, but I don't really care, honestly. Like, they're still beautiful, they still work. The colors are within enough of a median of each other that it's not a big deal. So I went down through one, I'm coming up through the other, but you can see there's still this breakage between them. So what I'm gonna do is just go back in. It makes it a little difficult because the needle's sticky, so it does catch the feathers. And I have a long thread going right now because I just replaced it. But you see how they're not really attached? a little bit, but not really. I'll fold the edges under, make sure they're nice and like that. And then go back in with your needle. So I came up here, go back in here, so you're looping over the top of it one more time. And back up through the new patch. Free all the feathers. Don't want feather prisoners in there. We don't want them pointing the wrong direction. So it's a little bit of a fiddly project. It's not difficult. It's something that you could definitely do in front of the TV or whatever. It doesn't take a whole lot of concentration. Do you see that? And that over the top of it is going to stop them from unfolding on themselves. And when we wind the tape around again, it's just going to go right over the top and make sure that they lay beautifully flat. But for now, that's going to keep them in place. So we're going to do the same thing. Just line the tape up slightly above from the tape below it and continue to stitch it down. So I moved locations just to make it a little bit easier on myself, but as you can see, I'm basically done with this side. All of the feathers are on here and it looks great. I do have a slate ribbon of lace left over. This is what the underside looks like. You can see just kind of tacked down all the way up the lace, but what we're gonna do is hide that extra bit of lace at the top by bringing down the satin and covering the feather ribbon with it. So you're not going to see the lace and you're not going to see the ribbon on the feathers. It's just gonna be the satin from the bathrobe and then the feather topping. So I came through the bottom of the tape and the very bottom of the satin sleeve, and I'm just pulling it over the top of it. So there's going to be a little row of lace hidden inside and just tacking that down so that we have a nice edge from the sleeve of the robe to the feathers. And we do want to go all the way around. Take your time with this. This is the finished edge and this is what's going to make it look really, really nice. So don't rush this part. Make sure that you're doing a nice clean edge and not taking too much of the satin sleeve with you so you have a straight line. Here we go. This is the very end of sleeve 1. I just have that little inch or so to sew down and then I'm done and we can reveal what one sleeve looks like. All right, you guys, I have one of these sleeves done and I wanted to give you an update because isn't it such a different look? Like, yes, lovely satin robe to begin with, but then look at this glamour. Oh my goodness, I love it. And this is a better angle to show you guys what I did anyway. So it's the multiple different layers of feathers and then just stitching the end of the lace down. It connects with the satin beautifully. On camera, they're actually showing up as way different colors, like super pink and like this kind of taupey skin color. In real life, this is like a blush champagne color, and the feathers are more pink, but they're not as pink as they are showing up on the camera lens. So it really does blend kind of beautifully in real life. But you can see like such a difference. It's not belted. Obviously, the belt is across the room because that is saved for the final reveal. But for the halfway point, this is awesome. This is like old Hollywood starlet vibes, and I'm so here for this. This is gonna be an amazing robe. All right, so we are starting over on the second sleeve, and I'm going to be tacking down the row of feathers to the very end of the lace. I'm not going to cover this one super exhaustively because you saw how to do it on the first one. Here we go, we're at the end, and I'm basically just finishing up tacking the base of the satin part of the sleeve over the top of the feather ribbon and hiding the ribbon and the little sheet of lace in there, tacking it down and just making sure that I have nice, clean, tiny little darts with my needle and thread so that it shows as minimally as possible. It's not a huge deal because the thread matches, but the inside looks good. It's nice and clean. There's no threads hanging anywhere that are going to catch when I put my fingers and hands through it to put the robe on. It's all just nice and flat, just good, clean lines. That's exactly what we want, and lots of poofy feathers. So here we go. We're gonna reveal it. Okay, guys, so here is how it turned out, and it's fabulous. Honestly, I can't get enough of it. I just finished, I put it on, and I never want to take it off. It's seriously glamorous, gorgeous, old Hollywood vibes. Basically 100% true to the movie, except I left the lace on the bottom. That's just my shorts. But I left the lace on the bottom. It's just satin in the movie, but I didn't mind. I like the lace. It's a beautiful lace, so I left that on there. But the sleeves, oh my God. Like, who knew a couple feathers could make such a difference? But this is seriously like the most luxe, glamorous thing I've ever owned. It's fabulous. So I do have many, many layers of these feathers on here. You can see how it moves. It's just beautiful. And you can kind of see inside like many, many rows of stitches here. So the inside is a little stiff. It's not itchy or scratchy or anything. It's quite comfortable, but it feels like a stiff unit on my arm, whereas the feathers are very airy and light and floating around. It gives it like some stability, I think, so that the feathers just remain down. And that's just from how I sewed it. I think if you glue it or sew it a different way than I did, maybe that would change, but that's how it is on this one. And honestly, like, it's just the coolest thing. Like, look at this. It's so great. It's very Mae West. It's very like, just scream siren. So good. I love it so much. I hope you guys do too. Thanks so much for joining me on this adventure, and I'll see you here again soon. Bye for now.